You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. A Manhattan jury finished day one of deliberations in former President Trump's hush money trial. Tom Howe reports the jury of 7 men and 5 women started deliberating after State Supreme Court Judge Juan Merchan spent an hour instructing them on the law. 4 hours into deliberations, the jury sent a note to the court requesting a reading of testimony from key prosecution witnesses, signaling they were diving deeply into the evidence. Prosecutors say Trump used his attorney Michael Cohen to pay hush money to an adult film actress before the 2016 election and criminally concealed the effort with a series of reimbursement checks. The National Zoo has announced that a new pair of pandas from China will arrive in Washington later this year. Sean Salai and Brad Matthews report male Bao Li and female Qing Bao are being sent to the zoo. Both pandas are 2 years old. The Smithsonian said that Bao Li is the grandchild of Tian Tian and Mei Zheng, the city's most recent pandas. Both pandas hail from China's Sichuan province. The zoo's previous 3 pandas left Washington and were sent back to China in November, as stipulated in a 2020 agreement between the National Zoo and Chinese conservation officials. More than a dozen major energy companies want the Supreme Court to review a Hawaii court decision saying they can be sued by local governments for their contribution to damage done by climate change. Alex Sawyer reports Sunoco, leading 14 other energy companies, asked the justices to consider an October decision from the Hawaii Supreme Court that allowed the city and county of Honolulu to sue them in state court. The court said changing climate patterns brought on in part by greenhouse gases have damaged property. The companies point to a decision of the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which ruled that local climate lawsuits are invalid because federal law trumps state law claims against the oil companies. The companies say the Supreme Court must hear the challenge and settle the conflict. Pressure is growing for members of Congress to prohibit themselves from individual stock trades. Dave Boyer reports critics say members are benefiting from inside knowledge of legislation likely to affect stock prices, such as the passage of 2022's CHIPS Act providing subsidies for semiconductor manufacturing in the United States. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi and her husband Paul sold 25,000 shares of chipmaker NVIDIA at a loss of $700,000 around the time Congress approved the CHIPS Act. They later purchased NVIDIA call options in their largest trading purchase of the past 3 years. Another significant trading move came from Maryland Representative David Trone, who submitted a financial disclosure last week reporting buys and sells of up to nearly $97 million in U.S. Treasury bills. And finally, reports in South Korea say more than 250 balloons filled with trash from North Korea floated across the demilitarized zone this week. The balloons, Andrew Salmon reports, some equipped with timer devices, dumped garbage into South Korea. Landings have been reported on roads, gardens, and roofs, with some reaching as far as 150 miles south of the border. The moves appear to be retaliation for balloons with anti-regime messaging sent northward by activists. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.